sun all the time, every single day. Most of the time the weather,
Same.
right? So it's like from that.
So, what's your favorite game? What's the best game you played
Oh,
in LAFC?
the first game, I didn't even play it. I was just on the bench.
No,
But
the best game you've played for LAFC that
the
you think you
best
played best.
game I've played, uh, I mean, I think it varies. Like when I had my debut, I did pretty well. I also had to become a center back, which I don't play center back, but
Yeah.
I made a couple stops that like I surprised myself, and that was like a good step up for me. One of them was I think when I played against Philadelphia Union as striker, and like I had some good touches and almost scored. So I think that was a really good game. I think my best game had to be when it was preseason actually, and a lot of people didn't. Actually, you know what? No, my best game had to be when I played. We played Iniesta's team. Um, do you remember the Japanese club?
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
And he's
But
back.
honestly, the best game you played was the game you came in as a sub. I will never forget that game. The game you played, it was in was a cup game. We played against this team in California. Um,
Was it the
Fresno. Fresno. He came in as a sub.
okay?
It was a U.S. Open Cup game,
Yeah, yeah,
a semi-final, I think, or quarterfinal.
yeah.
He almost scored in that game. He came in like 10 minutes to the end of the game, but as
Yeah,
soon as he got into that game, the whole game changed. I will never forget that game. Only that was the first time I was actually watching you play live, and I was like, "Who is this dude?" Like, who is this dude? I will never forget that day. That game,
it
I
was
think it
the
was like I
it
can't
was
remember how much what the score line, but you stood out from every person. I was telling my friend, who is this dude? Just came me like because he had this force. People don't really know that you're very fast. But
yeah,
I think,
yeah,
and honestly, I think that's a big advantage. I don't think you even know that yet. Like you're like the fastest player I've seen in that whole team. I think you're the fastest.
yeah.
But
I definitely was. I
I
think
don't like,
Latif was second. Pretty sure.
yeah, you're pretty fast. Like I've seen you run. Like you got gas on those legs. Like,
Same.
you know, that was good days though.
Bro, no, I
Good
mean
days,
that
man.
was
Like
like
honestly, it was
me
good.
was like using my speed and I think obviously I think that's kind of where me and LAFC had a problem. That's kind of why I left was it was just the playing time that was kind of what impacts every single player is how much playing time you get at a club, right? So no matter how beautiful or amazing a club is, it might be your dream club, like um, I don't know if you remember Odegaard, the Norwegian guy who went viral and everybody was like, "Oh my God, this guy is crazy." And then he went to go to Real Madrid, and he got no playing time at Real Madrid. He got loaned out to, um, I think it was Sociedad, and he just blew back up. Like he was going crazy, doing very well, and that's because he was playing, right? So it's like for being a young guy, having the realization, I think getting to that point of realizing what is the biggest thing for me because I loved LA. I met amazing people. That part off the field, I was able to manage easily, right? Like to meet people, to go to different things, experience stuff, have fun with a lot of people, and all this. I had, the best time, right? But it was just the part that for me that stood out was my football, right? And that's the only, the football is what makes your life, right? Because football is our like us as football players is the whole life. You know this. Like football is your life as well.
Yeah.
It's what defines what I do. So that's why everything that has to happen in my life has to be specific and getting me better, right? In football. So progressing to that next level, I could see was very difficult at LAFC because I got minimal time and it was just like progressing and obviously it started to get a little bit better, but I just think the reason that I left, obviously, was we both agreed that that progression wasn't going the way we both intended it to, right? So they had a different idea, I had a different idea. Obviously, when that happens, you have to make the decision for yourself, right? So for me, it was just making that decision to be like, okay, I understand, I'm an adult, like I need to do this for my career, you know? And a lot of other players did that. They left earlier than me, right? But the choice I made to stay and kind of soak up all that good information, and you know, because I was just, let me take everything in. I'm here. Let's see how far we can take this, you know. And that was my biggest thing. How far can I take this? And took it quite far. I got, you know, to a point where I felt very powerful in my position, and you know, just the ideas. I thought, you know, I should have been playing more, and obviously, with that, that's why I left. So it's a part of football. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. Like LA, the team, I would go back, right? That would be amazing, but it couldn't be now, right? And this is just something I speak on just for the purpose of younger kids as well, so that they can see everything is good. You guys will see everything is very, very good, but you have to realize what you're here for, right? And what I was there for was solely football, right? So the rest of it came with the football, because obviously when you live in a certain place, you kind of go out and explore, see what is around, you know, to entertain yourself and stuff. But if you don't have that core piece, you most likely won't be properly happy. And that's just, we know this. If you don't have your football right, then a lot of other things you don't really care about.
Yeah.
Football.
So what really happened? Because I know the last game you played was against Toronto in Canada, and
Vancouver.
yeah, sorry, Vancouver, yeah, and we narrowly lost that game to 1-0, right? Was it 1-0 or 2-1?
It was 2-1.
2-1. That was the last game you played for LAFC. So what really happened after that game? Because you played two in that game,
I was
and
playing.
you started that game.
Yeah, I played before 90. I mean, once again, it's like it's it goes down to kind of your coaching staff and who you have on at the moment. You know, um, like the football part of it is very difficult, right? Because it's kind of like a chemistry thing, right? So as you saw, like that game was all over the place, right? It wasn't like us normally, and that's just because we're used to playing with certain other players, right? So like I wasn't used to playing in general, right? Like, you know, you don't get a lot of minutes, so you kind of have to get used to being on the field, to the situations, the scenarios, guys coming. Like I have in training, it's very difficult, right? So regardless, because we had very good players, it was very difficult. But regardless of the situation, when you go to see other players, new players, you find it difficult, because then it's like you kind of don't know, like you know what they're gonna do, but at the same time, like football is a game of surprises, right? So it's like you have to get used to the flow. You get used to these players. Like a lot of the guys, you'll see the reason that we did very well in that last season was because we were used to playing these teams, right? Those guys on the field have played these teams multiple times and executed against these teams multiple times, right? So they're used to beating them, right? We were used to finding niches in there and what's wrong with them, right? Their left back. The left back is right-footed, right? So it's like run him the whole way, run him down the left side because he can't use his left foot, right? These are the things that we exploited in a lot of teams to figure out why and how we could beat them, right? So we could expose so many teams. Now for us, it was just at that game, it was what it was. Like we tried our best. Obviously, it was difficult when you don't have that chemistry part because there was a lot of new players on the field, and I think they were giving a lot of new players the minutes because obviously we needed to rest. Right? We had Open Cup and we had these things we were kind of focusing on, so we were trying to get that piece down. But that's what it was for us. It was just like for me, I was very like surprised, and also like, you know, this is no excuse, but we played on artificial grass. We don't train on regular artificial grass, right? So getting used to playing on artificial grass is kind of difficult because you go from beautifully cut grass that we have in LA, like our grass is top notch, right? And it's beautifully taken care of. To then go to like trash kind of artificial grass. So then you're trying to get used to the way the ball bounces, how it sticks, rolls, things like this. They don't water the turf as well. So it's like, it's super dry, figuring these things out. And no, I mean, that game was how that went. And then after, it was just kind of like, let me look, because we lost, right? So I was like, my first game this season with them that I played 90, we lost, right? So any player knows, like, was it my fault? That was the first thing. It was like, I
It
messed
was
up.
a whole team. It was a whole team.
Yeah. And I was like, I need to look into this. Like, did I give anything away? What was my fault? Like, and, then I looked into it and I did what's up, Isaiah? Looked into it and I was just like, what I did in the game was nowhere near close to what I could do. I had a few moments in the game that I felt that, okay, that was okay. But the whole game for me, I felt like off, and that's just from not trusting my own self.
Honestly, I think the whole team was off in that whole
And
game, apart from Blessing. Apart from Blessing. And Blessing got took out in less than 30 minutes. They knew Blessing was the only man
and Latif was
that
always,
was in the game, and they took him out. And that was the end of LFC in that whole game.
and what's crazy is like we had played this team in preseason, right? So I didn't even remember, but like I played this team in preseason. I was playing winger, and I was running the left back, right? Running them down, beating them, boom, and I was like feeling really good about that game. Then, obviously, changed from, we were on grass, right? So we go to their home turf, their environment. Things are different. I was very nervous, right? Any other player knows they're very nervous. Then I kind of started, I got into the game and I got loosened up, right? But it was just like that whole realization after the game, like, I messed up. We had a bad day, like, and then I kind of re-looked at it and was like, no, everybody kind of had a bad day. Like, I don't need to be that hard on myself, So it was just an off day for our team. And obviously you saw after that, we just went like this.
Yeah, true.
We had a really good season the rest of the game. And I was like, okay, that was very good. But after that, it just kind of was like up and down. For me, things started to go down in terms of just like the relationship with the football and the coaching staff and
So when you left to Europe, so tell me your experience in Europe, because I know when you left, you went to Europe for a while. You in Poland or Iceland? Where were you?
What's up?
When you went to Europe after you had issues with LAFC,
Yeah.
after you got other ways, you went to, is it Poland or Iceland you went to?
Norway.
Norway, yeah, you're in Norway for a while. So what was going on in Norway while you're in Norway?
So like I was in Norway just, like exploring, seeing what opportunities I can take there. And like when I was at LA, I really enjoyed it, and like America is amazing, you know what I'm saying? But like my heart is in European football, right? When I was younger and I was doing national team stuff and we would go play Europe and we play these national teams, I just was like a different player, like I come alive, and I was like, I really felt that when I was in Europe, I was just such a beast that I felt like I needed to go back, And obviously every footballer's dream is to play either in England or in Spain or, one of these Germany, one of these big, countries. So for me, it's always been England. Like I have roots there, so I would love to go back and play for United, right? That's my team. So